All right. Alberto Elisavetsky, thank you so much for coming back on and having a discussion where we're going to be talking about can ODR change the world? And welcome to the documentary. Just wanted to start off by having you reintroduce yourself very quickly. Most people know you from the prior podcast recording that you had done with us, but I wanted to just give you the opportunity to just share a little bit about yourself before we go into some questions.
Well, hello, how are you, Mac?
Yeah.
Basically, to make a long story short, today I honoris causa doctor in mediation for the International Mediation Federation, certified public accountant here in my country at the Buenos Aires University. I'm the director of the Observatory of Conflict Resolution at the National University of 3 de Febrero, where we develop artificial agents to support negotiation and mediation. And I'm running an ODR Latin America editorial. It's a publishing company only dedicated to publish conflict resolution and mediation books in general, with technology and face-to-face. That's basically, I'm fellow of the Center of Massachusetts University Amherst, and I'm board member for the sixth consecutive year of the International Council for Online Dispute Resolution. That's it.
Well, that's a lot. That's it. So you're obviously the big name, one of the biggest names down in Latin America for all things ODR. And my first time of hearing from you was when Dan Rainey had introduced me to you. And then I got a chance to reach out to you myself. But just like before, just wanted to have you tell the audience the short version of the history of ODR in Latin America. And I'll sprinkle in a few questions, but the floor is yours. You'll have most of the opportunity to talk because you've done this many times, and just want to start from the beginning.
Okay, it's a funny story. My wife, she is the director of the Mediation Center of the Economist College in Argentina. It's an organization with 70,000 members. And in 2006, she already have 6-7 years managing the area with more than 200 mediators. But of course, they only perform face-to-face.
Yep.
And one day I was surfing the net and I found the Massachusetts Amherst Conflict Resolution with Technology Center. And I walked in the kitchen. She was cooking. And I said, Alicia, there are some people in the United States saying that you could mediate online. Well, she started laughing and telling me that was absolutely impossible for several reasons.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, if some people in the United States is trying to do this, I think could be, they have been working at that time from 1996. We are talking about 2006, 10 years.
Yep.
With their experience. Well, I get in touch with the people in the center, and I participate in the first Cyber Week. And at that time was one of the ODR forums. It was made once a year, and at that time was in Haifa in Israel. And I requested the opportunity to make a presentation. And they asked me about what could be my presentation. And I said, well, really, I don't know. What I have to do is to talk about the feasibilities. But when the date arrives, I was very scared and nervous because, to tell you the truth, in Latin America at that time, ODR was zero, totally zero. And I was talking with one of the guys working at that time with Ethan Cash,
Yep.
the father of the ODR in the world. And you know, he said, Alberto, don't worry about you don't have anything. Tell us your dreams. And with that, I flew to Israel and it was like a kind of presentation and examination. I remember that Dan Rainey was sitting in the room, checking about what was my idea. Well, the end of my presentation was that night Ethan Cash allows me and nominate me as a fellow of the center. I was the first Latin American fellow of the National Center. And they asked me if the next year, in 2010, I could organize the forum in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Cool.
And I said yes without any net, because when I came back, nobody cares about online dispute resolution, Cyber Week, nothing, just face to face or die. And well, working with some people, some colleagues, I found a place at in Buenos Aires for 2010, and we ran our first ODR forum in Argentina, June 2010, with 400 people. But it was face to face because at that time, no streaming, okay, no Zoom, nothing. And everybody was in love with the idea. And after a week, nobody remembered what was ODR. and at that time, my wife, as I told you, Alicia, was teaching one subject in a European master in Argentina with VIP students from Brazil, Uruguay, Chile, and Argentina. They paid a lot of money for this master. And she teach a subject which was system design for conflict resolution.
Oh, okay.
Which is the subject, the last subject in our undergraduate program of conflict resolution and mediation at our university, the 3 de Febrero, because we have an undergraduate program. But this subject is the last one. Before go to your final thesis, you have to approve this subject. But she asked me to go 30 minutes to the university and explain what is ODR. And at that time, it was running the Cyber Week. I don't remember the year. But, well, I went to the classroom and I was talking about Cyber Week, ODR, blah, blah, blah. And 10 days later, the dean of the university called my wife and I said, Alberto is allowed to speak whatever he wants, but it's forbidden at this university talk about it's possible do mediation online.
Wow.
And she was crying because at that time, everybody thought that I was absolutely crazy. But in a situation that a lot of the traditional mediators hate the idea to mediate online, not only because they were scared about the technology, they were scared about how to handle the emotion in a virtual environment. Nobody was talking about Zoom at that time, etc. Well, finally, 2012, I was able to convince the Minister of Justice of one province in Argentina in the north, Salta, about develop a pilot project of online mediation. It was in the Salta province, 2012. And the minister dictated a resolution number 118 this year, allowing do co-mediation online, no mediation, co-mediation. Why? Because on the province, 2 different mediation centers with 2 co-mediators, and the parties sitting together to the co-mediators in order to do the mediation online. And when they finish, one of the parties signed the agreement, the document, the settled document, and put it in an envelope on a mail and send it to the other center, because there were no PDF or DocuSign or blockchain, whatever. And the agreement were sent by mail. That's how we started. 2012, Salta, Argentina was the first case of public policy of free co-mediation online for the population. And after that, well, it was the will functioning.
Still slow.
I received several invitations from Mexico, from Brazil. In 2014, one of my students at the university in Buenos Aires was a guy bothering me, my whole class about ODR, asking questions, interrupting me, asking questions. When I finished, I gave me his business card. I just put it in my pocket and I forget about him.
Yeah.
And 14 days later, I received an email from Brasilia, which is the main capital of Brazil. And this guy, Ministro Bussi, was the guy in charge of set up the mediation in Brazil. He invited me to a conference, Global Mediation Rio, October 2014. And I made my presentation about ODR, 600 people. 599 when I was talking about ODR were saying, impossible. Alicia was one of the moderators, and she said, well, if we can fall in love through internet, why we cannot solve a conflict? Her sentence is in my first book, Mediation Under the Light of the New Technologies. And in 2015, June, the mediation law of Brazil includes one article allowing mediate online.
Got it.
They did a fantastic job because with only one article allow online mediation only if the party living overseas or abroad accept the regulation of the Brazilian mediation law.
Okay.
Well, after that, we continue working, and all of a sudden, COVID arise, and all the mediation community, at least in Iberoamerica, realized that it was a money issue.
Yeah.
You mediate online because you won't be able to make money out of mediation, like in other professions. But basically, if you want to survive and get money for your family, you have to mediate online.
Yep.
And it was an explosion for ODR Latin America, my organization, which was founded in 2006.
Yeah.
We start receiving a lot of requests for all Iberoamerica, because at the time also we were the only one teaching in Spanish about ODR. And it was finally like being with a spoon and it was raining soup.
Correct.
Okay? More than a spoon, you know? A big container. It happened very, very interesting situation. For example, in Spain, they have labor mediation. In general, most of the countries have conciliation for labor issues, labor conciliation. And well, we train around 80 mediators of it's not the government, it's an organization working with the government, and because they start having a lot of strikes and conflicts in the production because of the COVID. And well, after our training, they signed April the 1st, 2021, probably, their first agreement between companies, owners, and unions. And during the COVID, we trained more than 3,000 mediators.
Wow.
Yeah. 600 in Mexico, around 2,000 for Argentina,
Wow.
Colombia, Chile, Costa Rica, well, Spain. We did a lot of cohorts with a lot of participants, and we train in two, let's say, two visions. One was how to handle a so-called mediation room. At that time, there were no mediation rooms really useful for mediators. And the other one is we create a protocol to handle emotion in virtual environments, okay? Because before this, we did research with several Ministers of Justice and Universities of Latin America, and we create a project called Mediar, which means in Spanish is mediation simulation. And we work with the idea of like a pilot in a simulator trying to land in an airport. He doesn't know. The same for a mediator trying to handle the emotions and the technology and the people who couldn't listen, etc., all at the same time, try to go ahead with a mediation. At that time, we were using a technology from India, and the name of the technology was DIM. It was a company based in Hyderabad, and for me was the best one at that time. And luckily, one day they decided to sell it to Salesforce, and they keep it for their own activities. Then we lose the possibility to continue working with it. But at that time was the best technology available in the market for a very cheap price. Well, and of course, after pandemics, everybody became an expert, like dispute resolution. And when the competition arose, everybody was talking about how to mediate online.
Yeah.
In spite of that, the online mediation is facing different problems, different barriers. Talking about Latin America, okay? Because it's difficult for practitioners change their mind and walk out of the comfort zone. And when they know a tool, they just keep it. And of course, platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Cisco, they have been built only for like this, for a class online, for a meeting, but they are not fulfilled a full online mediation process from face recognition of the parties, handle the archives, the files with at least 2 levels of security or second level. Go to the conference, it's easy because this part is solved. And at the end, blockchain signature or any specific process where you need to have the traceability to go from the face recognition to the signature, being certified that it's the same person. Okay. But I think that the additional problem that it's facing all online mediation process is money issues. It's very complicated for a mediator, organize agenda, at least with 2 parties, 2 lawyers, plus his agenda. You have to organize 5 people, minimum.
Yep.
How many mediations you could have per day if you are lucky to could organize the agenda? I'm sure that from the point of view of sustainability and moving the mediation from a hobby to a real professional activity, we should think about asynchronic mediation, using the platforms that allow mediator to attend several cases at the same time. And it's not necessary only in very specific special cases, the video conference. You know, calling rule start working with a platform from Netherlands, Juripax. Juripax was a very old conflict resolution platform before Modria. After Juripax was bought by Modria. And Modria after that was by, I think, for Tyler Technologies.
Correct.
But at the time of Juripax, it was a full asynchronic platform. All cases were just previously written, and mediator and parties should go through the documents. And I think in the near future, the ODR should include, as I call it, text mediation.
Gotcha.
The idea of the text mediation is the idea that you don't need to be online to support a mediation process. That's my idea, okay? From the point of view of the availability of the mediator, I think that could be an interesting possibility. And the other problem is that it has been a lot of entrepreneurs trying to build ODR platform. Why? Trying to build to the governments, courts, city halls, the platform. And the problem with the platform is the online or on-site, okay? What I mean, when you go to the court and you said, okay, I have a platform, okay, where the data will be hosted? In my servers. you have a problem with the IT CEO, IT chief of the court, because he said, no, we cannot allow that the data of our citizen is in another place, in a foreign service. Even though today, in online mediation, it's exactly what is happening. Why? Because Zoom, Google, Web, etc., all the info is going to the servers of the company owner of the platform.
Yep.
In Latin America, that's what I'm saying, is extremely important. I'm working on that. We call soberano. It means sovereignty. Okay? The platforms should belong to the ones who are responsible to keep the data of the citizen or the customers. So this hybrid system, that's why all the entrepreneur projects have failed up to now. Because when you want to scale the project, you found the problem, who is responsible for the data? And the government should be, the government, the court, the province, the state, whatever. And from my point of view, this is the biggest problem that is facing the online mediation. Because there are no difference now. We have been talking the other day about the difference between Europe, UA. In general, today, with the technology floating around, there is nothing new under the sun. More or less, all of us has the same information, more or less, at the first time.
Yep.
And summarizing the situation, nobody wants to leave. Of course, it was a lot of action from the government in different provinces. For example, in Argentina, tried to go back to the face-to-face mediation. But the practitioners reject the idea of go back. And after huge negotiation, online mediation was again allowed at full.
Well, yeah, thank you, for the story that goes from 2006, from your personal experience, all the way to the present. But let's pivot a little bit. Can you imagine the future, and what do you see the developments? You've given us one of them, for example, of focusing more on sovereignty and data, and that's very important. What other issues, what else keeps you up at night that you really want to think about or discuss?
Well, basically, as from 2023, my organization, ODR Latin America, we are certified by the Minister of Justice of Argentina to provide continuous education to mediators. Here in Argentina, you have to be in a registry, you have a number, and you have to fulfill with X amount of hours per year of continuous education. As from 2023, we start working with artificial intelligence to support negotiation and mediation. We developed several courses, and we start working with our artificial intelligence agent. Its name is Negotiator One. With Negotiator One, we start with our cyber mediators, because we have a book. We register all mediators who have the expertise to work online. We call it the Cyber Mediators Registry. They have a number, and we also put the amount of hour of training and certification that they perform. We are now running our next edition in April. But a focus in artificial intelligence, we work with our agent. We give it to my university, to my students, because we have I teach one subject in the program, which is online dispute resolution. In this subject, where I teach during 6 months all the knowledge available about this, we also use Negotiator One for train our students. We provide cases for rail plane, and they have been very, very successful in using. At the same time, with this development of our agent, I lead an investigation and research with 15 universities for Iberoamerica, where their contribution was 3 cases that they mediate face-to-face. They should do it exactly the same using Negotiator One and finalizing with a recommendation, okay? This book, it's, the name in Spanish is the first Ibero-American research comparing traditional mediation with artificial intelligence, let's say mediation assisted by artificial intelligence. And we present this book, I present this book in Sevilla, in Spain, last September, with the contribution of the Junta of Labor Mediation of Andalusia. Well, and this book now is distributed through Iberoamerica, and we are very, very happy to contribute with our first experience in the world. I don't know if in other languages or in other countries or other universities, there is an experience of 45 real cases due face-to-face and assisted by Negotiator One. Looking at the future, we are finishing with this program of Negotiator One. We participate in a Inter-American Development Bank program. They were submitted 110 projects, and 9 projects were the winning one, supported by money, not too much, but money at the end, and allowing us the possibility to be one of the winners. And now, after 6 months, we developed and personalized and a specific agent of artificial intelligence for the Supreme Court of Corrientes province. Is one of our 24 provinces in Argentina. This project, the idea is, if it works, will be shared with all other judiciary mediation centers. The name of the project is MEJUIA, means Judiciary Electronic Mediation with Artificial Intelligence. And we feed it with the Corrientes mediation law, with the model of transformative and integrative, and the document required by the mediator of this province. Then the idea is, when you go to the agent, you don't need to know anything about artificial intelligence. You said, hello, the agent is telling me your name, and he's asking me, you want to run a case to practice, or you have a real one? Of course, we tell the mediator that they don't have to upload real information. That's the case without personal data to avoid any problem. And we train a group of the first 50 mediators with artificial intelligence agent. And our next step is continue with artificial intelligence. We are in the process of launching one family mediation agent.
Okay.
The name will be Familitor, like negotiator, Familitor. Yep. And when I announced the idea of the test, a lot of mediators of the region asking us that they want to participate in the beta test.
Yep.
And I think the future of the ODR is regarding keep track of what's going on inside the black box when we are using artificial intelligence. Because we know the input, we know the output, but what's happened inside was the ideology of the algorithm, because up to now, it's a person writing the algorithm. This is according to the recommendation of the International Council for Online Dispute Resolution. We create 9 recommendations, and those recommendations, as from March, there is a regulation of ISO,
yep,
which is 32122, specific for certification in online dispute resolution. And the future is technology, trying, we as humans, not to lose control of the technology. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure. And you know, today I said, don't worry about artificial intelligence. You won't be replaced for the artificial intelligence. You will replace in your job for a mediator who knows how to handle artificial intelligence.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this statement that I share with you today will be exactly the same in the future. Perhaps the mediation will be run by artificial intelligence or something like that. We are working also now with virtual reality for training. We are developing a program that, but we are very, very happy with the job that we are doing. We are very happy with the students we have in our underdegree program, 800 students learning conflict resolution and mediation. A lot of them are volunteers for those programs, and also all the staff of ODR Latin America. And in this year, we also have been designated by the International Mediation Institute from allow us to teach the basic program, which is the program to acquire the quality of the category of qualified mediator of IMI. And we already run very successfully one court in English for India and one court in Spanish. We just finished it. And we are planning to launch in Portuguese soon. All those programs include online dispute resolution and the usage of artificial intelligence, because negotiation 1, you could work in Spanish, English, Portuguese, and Italian.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a few questions just to make sure I cover most of it you've already covered, but I just wanted to get some specific points from you. So back in 2006, I understand the climate was very different towards the exception of ODR in Latin America. Why do you believe there was this strong resistance, to ODR? Why did people think you were crazy?
Because let me in this way.
Yeah.
Mediation at the beginning of the year was a business. What? Training, not perform the professional activity. Why? The money came out of all the training entities. The cycle started in Tallahassee with Sharon Press. The mediation was bring to Argentina and arise an enormous business to create a mediation field and train mediators. And the mediators were trained at the end of the 2000, was the beginning of the end of, I don't remember. Now we 1 month ago, 30 years of the mediation law in Argentina, 33. Okay. But at the beginning, there were no mediators. It's like the joke. A guy grow to a country, a very poor country, where everybody, they don't have shoes. And he was the salesman of a shoes company. The first one said, okay, this is a disaster. We cannot stay here because in this market, nobody uses shoes. And the other salesman said, this is a great opportunity. Nobody uses shoes. We can sell it everybody.
Yeah.
And the mediation at the beginning was the same. We have to tell mediation is fantastic, peace, love, less expensive, etc., etc. Let's go to train mediators. That was it. And how they were trained? They were trained with all the techniques, face to face. All of a sudden, there is a parachuter coming and saying, okay, you don't need to be face to face, because part of the training ideas was related with the distance, how to handle someone is crying here, somebody is shouting here. All the building of the mediation was created with the idea, or you look at the eyes of the parties, or you can't mediate. Yeah. All of a sudden, someone came and said, okay, I put the flag and say, okay, could be, but if you use a camera, you more or less could go ahead. Nobody cares about social inclusion. Nobody cares about tremendous cost reduction. Yep. Because people don't understand that if you talk about online mediation, you benefit not the one who has the last iPhone, the one who lives in a city 100 kilometers to where his ex-wife is living, okay? And he has to request to his company the day off to take a bus or drive a car to other city or sleep in another city to do a mediation and came back. One of the most successful examples that we had was in 2017, before the pandemic, of the Latin America developed the mediation, not co-mediation, mediation program of the Buenos Aires city. It was another public program. And we create several scenarios, different scenarios to do the mediation. Of course, face-to-face, the normal one, everybody online, and one model, which was, in general, we have in our city a lot of old buildings belonging to owners in Europe and living lower class people in Buenos Aires. In general, they have problems with the apartment, with the flat, blah, blah. But the owner never thinking catch a plane and fly to Buenos Aires 12 hours to solve an issue in a mediation. In this case, the government of Buenos Aires has 15 offices, and the citizen who don't have access to the technology or could walk to an office of the government, sit down together with a mediator and the owner of the apartment is in France or in Spain. Of course, this is also not traditional mediation because the balance of the table, etc., etc. But we have been able to solve a lot of conflict. Of course, the party which is alone accept that he is alone and try to perform the mediation with the mediator sitting together with the other party. And we solve a lot of cases using this non-traditional mediation process.
Gotcha.
And well, you know, I wrote an article in a book when the COVID-19, which says the narrow door. All of a sudden, when the pandemic arises, all mediators who reject the online mediation, trying at the same time walking through a door narrow. Why? Because there were not available too many trainers in online dispute resolution to help them. That's why we trained more than 3,000 mediators. Of course, for us, was a fantastic academic and practice opportunity to become a very well-known organization working in online dispute resolution.
Yeah.
And this resistance, Mark, just is past. Nobody cares today why someone reject or not the idea. Today is part of our life.
Correct.
That and also with the new generations and with the native digitals, there are no discussion. Also living in the same city, 10 blocks, today people prefer online mediation. With the problems that I told before, but they still preferring.
So let me ask you this. This is starting to wrap us up. The question of the documentary is, can ODR change the world? And I'd like to know your answer. For that, I ask all the guests that same question. What would you say? You can be as broad or limited as you'd like.
More than the ODR could be a tool, an additional tool to change the world. But I think it's not enough. When I went to Haifa in 2009, it was a serious game belonging to the Pennsylvania University. The name was The Peacemaker. The first game in the history of the humanity where if you want to win, you have to tie with your opponent. And this was about the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians.
Yeah.
The tool was fantastic. The idea that using the empathy to feel what my enemy feels in order to find a path for the peace looks fantastic. But the problem that in the middle you have the people, and the people and the story. You know, in negotiation we teach that you have 4 basic principles. Goods? No. 4 basic kind of conflicts. Goods, principle, territory, and relation. And this one, principle, is the most difficult for us to deal with, for color, for religion, etc., etc. And the people should be very open-minded in order to go. I think the ODR has a fantastic future. It's a tool, and more than everything, now using artificial intelligence, it's unbelievable what we can produce in a few seconds. Basically, about multiple options of mutual benefit, multiple options of uncountable. Yep. You have a problem, the agent give you 10. You want 10 more, 10 more, 10 more, 50. You will see when we meet hopefully when we meet in Mexico, in Guadalajara, I will have the opportunity to share with you.
Yeah.
At that time, probably the family tour. But you need the human being. The ODR will be part of the future of the teach piece, if people change a little bit its mind. Because you see the leaders today fighting and shouting.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fantastic tool, and I'm in love of the project that we are running. I'm in love with the colleagues that I have around the whole world, that we support each other. And now we in Latin America, we are in the center of the stage. Everybody is asking us, what do we think?
Yeah.
And well, that's the result of 15 years of walking in the desert, trying to find the last Coca-Cola.
Well, let me ask you one question then. Speaking about that, do you feel that ODR development in Latin America was a little bit in the shadows compared to what was going on in Europe and the US? Because I think we had touched on this last time we had talked.
Let me ask you a question. How many successful platforms do you know now in developed countries, Europe, that as a business that have been success?
Yeah, I don't know that many, and I'm in the industry.
No. But what I'm saying is, the problem that I told you before regarding the data protection,
yes,
is the barrier until the United Nations and UNCITRAL didn't work in the issues of data protection in online dispute resolution barriers. I think that everything will be unique proposals, fantastic ideas, but those ideas didn't reach succeed because there are problems in usage, in change the idea of, if I had to sue someone, I need the address, instead of, that could be solved is internet has its own law, the internet law. And the ODR will be the conflict resolution system of the law of internet, which is a completely different law that we use regularly in our countries. It's like the difference that we have between the horse law and the code law. The idea of the horse law is a guy said, okay, we don't need to develop for any new area any specific law. That's why it's called the Esterbrook, is the name of the one who talk about the horse law. If you have your legal system, you don't need to create a specific law for horses. And the other group, which is Lansing, he said, code law, because some of technological improvement require some new law. Well, this is a hybrid situation between the horse law and the code law. And that's what the problem that we have, we're contemporary to those changes. And perhaps we don't realize the changes and what's going on.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot. Thank you so much, Alberto Elisavetsky.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to share some crazy ideas or experiences with you, Mac.
Yes, sir.
And I hope everything goes very well.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Okay, we will talk soon.